So I got this comment on my YouTube reel a few weeks ago at this point, and I wanted to make a video about it because it really got my brain agents and what their obligations are and how their sole job is to help people buy and sell homes. And so if a realtor is looking at a situation that doesn't fit the conventional mold, like what we've done here in this particular situation, I'll walk through some examples. This property, we actually found a home buyer for this property who couldn't qualify for a traditional mortgage, and then set up a lease option into a seller finance structure so that he could qualify or could get into a home and could get home ownership. And it's really frustrating to see that agents like this guy right here are commenting things like, I hope nobody falls for it. I hope nobody does this because it's a scam or something like that. And it's just so frustrating because as an agent, your job is to help people buy and sell homes. And if you're going to put people in boxes and then not go out and understand what's possible beyond the traditional means of doing real estate, you're doing a disservice to your clients. And for me, that's one of the status quos that I'm trying to change in the industry by introducing these concepts into the real estate agent world so that they can solve more problems. Because that's really what we do in this industry. It's all about solving problems. And this comment is apparently this guy's not open to solving problems. So for me, it makes it a little hard to kind of deal with that situation or deal with someone like that if they don't see the value that we're trying to create. Like, I'll give you this example. This is the deal that we were talking about that comment was made on. We bought this deal. It was on market for, I don't know, 100 plus days on market. Nobody wanted it. It really wasn't market ready, but it had a 3.125% mortgage. The seller had like 25K of arrears on the property, something like that. She was in pre-foreclosure. She was about to lose her house, and the agent could not sell it for her on the market. So what we did is we found the deal through a partner that sent it over to us. We paid the arrears, reinstated the loan, and then took the deed to the property, keeping that 3.125% mortgage in place. So solved that person's problem, got the agent their commission. That is a huge weight off that seller's shoulders. She doesn't have to go through foreclosure. She doesn't have to do any of the things that would have impacted her life had she lost the house. So, number one, that's a huge value for her. Number two is we found a buyer for this deal, an end buyer who is having trouble qualifying for a loan, but makes really good income. And so we lease option this property to him with the opportunity to work into seller finance a year from now when he has a little bit more money to put down. And so now he has the opportunity to own a home, live in a home, build equity in a home. And he wouldn't have that opportunity had we not come up with a creative solution for him to move into this property with. And so, as an agent, that's something that if I was an agent, I would be interested in because I was able to help the seller side and the buyer side pay the agent commission on the back end or the front end when we took the deal over sub two and place a buyer. You know, how many agents out there have buyers who can't qualify for loans? Probably a lot. Right now, that number is probably very high. And so that doesn't mean that they're not deserving of a home. It just means that when you put them through an institution that's running their credit or their debt to income ratio or their tax returns, or I mean, we literally just had a situation where I heard of someone was denied a bank loan because they work for a cannabis dispensary, and cannabis is federally illegal, even though it is legal in the state of Florida, and there's cannabis dispensaries everywhere. Regardless of what you think about cannabis or what that means as a whole, it's a legal job. It's pays well, and she pays her taxes. There's no reason why that person wouldn't be able to qualify for a home. So, as an agent, I would think it would be helpful to have some of these creative solutions in your back pocket, and that's what we're looking to do here is open the doors of opportunity so people have the opportunities to buy homes creatively. And so now this person owns a home or has the opportunity to own a home. The person who sold it no longer has the burden of owning the home, doesn't have to face foreclosure. The agent now has that tool in his back pocket so he can go out and help more sellers in the future. Nobody loses. And so that is the power of just adding tools to your tool belt, which is what every good agent, real estate investor should do. Act ethically, act in the best interest of other people, and then help them come up with solutions to solve their problems. We shouldn't be one trick ponies. We shouldn't be, stick a sign in the lawn and see what happens. Hopefully someone comes in with an all cash offer. That's not how the world works. So I'll give you some more examples. This person on this house here, he owed more on the property than it was worth. But because he had a lower interest rate, because the cost of entry into the deal was minimal, we were able to help him find a solution, pay the agent who was going to just lose the listing, and help this seller out of a situation. I mean, fair market for this house was probably about 280, 290, and he owed north of 300 grand. But because he had a good interest rate, a good payment, it worked for somebody to take this over and turn it into an investment property. And so this is another example of a solution where that agent had no way of helping the seller through conventional means. The only solution would be for the seller to short sale the property. And through no fault of his own, the property is worth less now than it was when he bought it. And so that solution for him didn't make a whole lot of sense. He's essentially being penalized for having bought in the wrong time. And there's other solutions to solve that problem. There just has to be someone who's able to present that in a way that makes sense for the seller and the agent, and then we can solve those problems together. So we solved this individual's problem here. And here's another one that we solved a serious problem for. So this person was moving out of the country. Cape Coral is a market that is decreasing in value or has decreased in value, and they owed basically what the property was worth. And so they had a 4% mortgage on the property. And so we were able to help facilitate an investor coming into the property, taking the property over subject to giving the sellers a couple of bucks for moving money. They were relocated to another job that took them actually overseas, and so, or to a different country. And so they would have the burden of paying this mortgage because they couldn't get out from underneath it in the States, or like short sell it, or something that would affect their credit. Those were their only options, or continue to pay the mortgage and try to manage a rental from a different country, not something they were interested in. And so we were able to solve this problem through creative finance, and these solutions help people. It's not Real estate is not a one trick pony game where you're a realtor, put a sign in the lawn, you do your marketing, and then you wait for someone to bring a cash offer or traditional financing. Especially in today's market where there's so much up and down, especially here in Tampa, it's mostly down. Foreclosures are way up. People who bought at the peak of the market, 2021, 2022, 2023, all of those people who need to or want to sell now, depending on how much they put down on the property, are in an equity situation where it doesn't make a lot of sense for them. People are going into arrears, people are losing homes to foreclosure, people are getting damages to their credit, and we can solve these problems. There just has to be collaboration between the deal finder, the agent in this scenario, and the deal structure and purchaser, which is me, and then the investors that I sell deals to, or the ones that we buy and then lease option or seller finance to homeowners so we can make homeownership possible for them. And making homeownership possible should be the mission of everybody who practices retail real estate, because you're buying and selling retail homes. And so that's why one of the strongest demographics of people we work with and solve problems for are realtors. Now, this one was off market, but the first two that I showed you, were on market. And we went to the realtor. The realtor had a problem. We helped solve that problem. We took care of them. We took care of the seller. Everybody wins. And so there's definitely collaboration that could be happening here. What we do helps people. And, we're on a mission to educate people on what's possible with their opportunities so we can help people get in homes, so we can help sellers sell homes, and so that people transact in good faith and actually solve problems. And so I had to get that off my chest. So hopefully you found that rant a little bit valuable. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with anybody who found value from this video, who thinks that they might have a deal that needs a second look, who thinks there might be a creative solution, or who doesn't even know what they're looking at. Maybe they have a deal that they're having trouble with. And so those are the exact types of deals that we'd love to help with. And yeah, if you want to see more content like this, subscribe, like the video, comment. I want to hear your thoughts about what I said about the collaboration between people like me, agents, wholesalers, and the general premise of, helping people buy and sell homes. So comment your thoughts below, and we'll see you on the next video.